Hello everyone, welcome back to another lesson with Let's Learn con María Ángel. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to describe the weather in English, more specifically, the winter. We're going to start off with quite basic vocabulary and then we're going to move up to a more advanced vocabulary. I'm going to give you nouns, adjectives, verbs, and also some idioms that will help you to describe winter in this seasonal weather. All right, so let's get started. This video is going to help you to improve your vocabulary, of course, but also your listening and pronunciation skills. All right, so let's start with the lesson. As you may know, Americans and British people, most of all, are famous for talking about the weather. It's one of the most common small topics that you can use to have wonderful and peaceful conversations. So today I'm going to give you the vocabulary you need to describe winter. Okay, so let's start with the adjectives. And the first most common adjective that you know is cold, right? You can say the winter is cold or the weather is cold. Or you can say bitter, which is slightly colder than cold, right? Or you can even put them together and make a sentence and say this flat, it's bitterly cold. You can also say it's chilly or chilling, right? Which is a little bit colder than bitter, right? All of these adjectives I'm giving you, they have kind of like the same meaning, which means it's cold. But you can use them in different ways so that you are not constantly using the same word, cold. You can also say crisp, all right? When the weather is cold and dry, so you can say it's crisp. It is crisp outside. I am not going out. A few other words that you can use also to describe winter. When it's a little bit colder or even colder, it's freezing, all right? Oh, it's freezing or it's frosty, okay? So frosty is when you have a thin layer of ice on things, all right? Like on the street, on the car, right? So it's frosty outside. If the skies are gray and you have this feeling like you don't like the weather because it makes you feel kind of sad, you can say it's gloomy, right? Very gray skies. Or you can say it's bleak, which means like it's cold and unpleasant. The weather, it's bleak today. Now, if the weather conditions are very bad, like with a lot of aggressive winds, you can use this word, aggressive or severe weather. You can see this word very commonly in forecasts, all right? When you see the television and then the news, all severe weather conditions are coming, take precautions, all right? So severe or aggressive. Another very common word that we use to describe aggressive weather, it's harsh. And it's very common to say, this was a harsh winter. Now let's move on to some verbs. You can obviously say to snow, which is that fluffy thing that comes from the sky, right? Or you can say to sleet, which is kind of like in the middle between rain and snow. It's not completely solid like snow, but it's not completely liquidy like the rain, right? So to sleet is sleeting outside. You can also say to hail. When it's hailing, it means that little tiny rocks are coming from the sky. They are falling off, right? They are harder than snow. They are actually kind of like icy rocks. So it's hailing. You should be careful when it's hailing outside because they are very painful. If you are riding a bike or if you are running, please be careful with the hail. Finally, we can say to freeze or to freeze over. So if you have some water or a pond or some lake and there is a layer of ice on it, you can say that something has frozen over the lake has frozen over. Now let's move on to some nouns. The first one I want to tell you is snow squalls. Snow squalls are snowstorms with a lot of wind, but they usually are for a short period of time, but they are very harsh and very, very aggressive. We also have blizzards. Blizzards are the same, but with a longer period of time, all right? So snow squalls are short period of time, and blizzards are in a long period of time. Okay, so we also have the black ice. And this doesn't mean that the ice is black, but it means like there is water on the roads that is frozen and the roads are black, so it looks like or gives the appearance of being black. And this usually causes a lot of accidents to car drivers because they do not see that it's ice on the road. So when you have black ice conditions, please be careful when you're driving. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about the wind chill. The wind chill. And the wind chill is the combination of very low temperatures with wind, all right? So sometimes we have the temperature is 0 degrees, for example, but the wind chill is the sensation of cold on the skin. So it can be even colder. It can be felt colder on the skin, and it can cause a lot of skin problems. Okay, the next is whiteout. When you have whiteout conditions, there's usually a lot of clouds and wind and snow that you do not see anything. The visibility, it's not good, all right? So when you are driving, sometimes you can get caught on whiteout or on a whiteout. So be careful when driving. I'm giving you a lot of examples about driving, but that's when it's the most dangerous. The next vocabulary or the next noun I'm going to give you is snowbound. When you are snowbound, this means that you can't travel because of the snow conditions. There has been so much snow that it's impossible for you to drive, to take a plane, a train, or any transportation method because it's impossible. So you are snowbound. The last noun is slush. Slush. So the slush is when the snow that has fallen on the street and the temperature starts to rise, the snow begins to melt, right? So this melted snow causes a lot of slippery roads. So the slush is not very pleasant and absolutely very inconvenient. So be careful with the slush. And for some idioms, I have one very special idiom for you that you might have heard before, which is I'm frozen to death or frozen to the bone, which means that you are completely frozen through. You cannot move because the weather is so cold and so severe that you are absolutely frozen to death. Okay, so this is it for today's lesson, and your homework is to write in the comments what is the weather like where you live in winter. And don't forget to subscribe and check all my social media. I have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so you can follow me in there. All right, see you next time. Bye bye.